Philosophy 212, Ethics in Business and Society. Dangerous goods, tobacco. In this lecture, we explore the product known as tobacco. This is a desired product, and so much money can be made from it, but it is also well known to be a dangerous good. We will look at some basic facts and history regarding tobacco, issues related to marketing and laws, and discuss ethical considerations briefly. The active ingredient in tobacco is nicotine. One cigarette yields about 1 milligram of absorbed nicotine. It acts as a stimulant in mammals and is a main factor in the dependence-forming properties of tobacco. According to the American Heart Association, nicotine addiction has historically been one of the hardest addictions to break. Here we see nicotine compared to some other drugs in terms of addiction potential. Tobacco is big business. About 5.5 trillion cigarettes are smoked each year. China is the world's largest producer. The United States is fourth largest. The estimated revenue from tobacco farming in 2008 was $13.25 billion. The overall estimated tobacco industry revenue for that same year was $42.75 billion. Some have argued that tobacco is the biggest gateway drug. They cite correlations between young people's use of tobacco and their later use of other psychoactive substances. Records of tobacco use span human recorded history. By the 1900s, cigarettes had become the major tobacco product sold. During World War II, cigarettes were included in soldiers' rations. By the middle of last century, the dangers of smoking had become well known. Notice how the increase in lung cancer rates parallels the increase in smoking rates. The correlation is striking. Part of big business, cigarettes have been widely advertised for many years. Appearing in cigarette ads have been movies, pop, more movie stars. Doctors have promoted cigarettes. Sports figures have sold cigarettes. And future presidents. On the website, you will find links to two famous television commercials, one involving popular cartoon characters. But laws change, and as we grow up under new laws, we change as well, and then change laws more. In 1965, the Federal Cigarette Labeling and Advertising Act required a warning label to be put onto cigarette packages. In 1970, cigarette advertisements and other tobacco advertisements were banned from broadcast advertising, which would include television and radio. This required some changes in the way that cigarettes and other tobacco products are marketed. Much of the advertising moved mainly to magazines. The warning label was still required in the ad. Cigarettes became more of an outlaw sort of activity. The anti-smoking movement has caused a decline in smoking over the years. In the 90s, Grady Carter became the first person to successfully sue a tobacco company for damages from smoking. He had developed cancer after smoking many years. It was found during the trial that the cigarette company had known of the dangers and addictive properties of tobacco products, but had lied about knowing these facts for many years. Carter was awarded half of what he had sought. Eventually, he was awarded $1.09 million in damages. In 1998, tobacco companies entered into the Master Settlement Agreement. This was after many lawsuits by states seeking to be compensated for damages caused by their citizens smoking. You can look in the reading at some of the things that were involved in this, but one was that cigarette companies could no longer use cartoon characters to advertise their products, as it was thought that such characters appealed to young people. In 2008, Iowa banned indoor smoking in public places, as many other states had already done. Is it possible that one day tobacco will be made an illegal drug? In terms of the ethics, the arguments typically given for things like the ban on broadcast advertising or the warning label or the banning of smoking in public places are utilitarian arguments. The idea is that laws should promote the common good. We should regulate markets to promote the common good. In terms of the ethics, arguments against certain things like the ban on broadcast advertising, for example, are libertarian in nature. That this violates freedom of speech, and that is freedom to do with one's property what one wishes. There are various other things that can be said about the ethics involving tobacco, marketing, advertising, etc.